Your business moves, travel plans that'll travel the map spans of the avid travel fans. Off radar, not in the room when the gavel lands. Feeling emo, get your people and get your ego to wham your land.
What religion are you?
I'm the religion that, to me, is the realest religion there is. I believe in God. I try to pray to God every night as I pass out.
Right.
And I think that's, and to me, religion, my idea of religion is this. I think that if you, I learned this in jail, because I talked to every God there was in jail. I think that if you take one of the O's out of good, it's God. If you add a D to evil, it's the devil. I think some cool motherfucker sat down a long time ago and said, let's figure out a way to control motherfuckers. And that's what they came up with, is the Bible. Because if the guy wrote the Bible, I'm sure it would have been a revised copy by now. You know what I mean? Because a lot of shit has changed. And I've been looking for this revised copy, and I don't see it. I still see that same old copy that they had from then. And I'm not disrespecting anybody's religion. Please forgive me if it comes off like that. I'm just stating my opinion. I feel like we get crucified. I mean, the Bible was telling us all these people did this because they suffered this much. That's what makes them special people.
Right.
I got shot 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You know what I mean? And I got crucified to the media. You know what I mean? And I walked through with the thorns on. And I had shit thrown on me. And I had the thief at the top. I told that nigga I'll be back for you. You know what I mean? And trust me, this not supposed to be going down. I'll be back. So I'm not saying I'm Jesus, but I'm saying that we go through that type of thing every day. We don't part the Red Sea, but we walk through the hood without getting shot. You know what I mean? We don't turn water to wine, but we turn motherfucking dope fiends and dope heads into productive citizens into society. You know what I mean? We turn money. We turn words into money. You know what I mean? What greater gift can there be? So I believe God blesses us. I believe God blesses those that hustle, those that use their mind, and those that overall are righteous. I believe that your karma, everything that you do bad comes back to you. So anything that I'm doing that's bad, I'm going to have to suffer for. But in my heart, I think what I'm doing is right. You know what I mean? So I feel like I'm going to heaven. You know what I mean? And I think heaven is just when you sleep with a good conscience. You don't have nightmares. And hell is when you sleep, the last thing you see is all the fucked up things you did in your life. And you just see it over and over again. Because you don't burn. Because if that's the case, it's hell on earth. Because bullets burn. You know what I mean? It's people that got burnt in fires. That means they went to hell already. You know what I mean? All that is here. So what else? What do you got there that we ain't seen here? What, you gonna walk around aimlessly, zombie? Nigga, that's here. You ain't been on the streets lately? You know what I mean? What heaven is now. Look, we sitting up here in the big screen. It's heaven for the moment. You know what I mean? Hell is jail. I seen that one. Trust me, this is what's real. And all that other shit is to control.
You know, all the questions are about, why can't I manifest this? Why can't I have that? This isn't working, and so on. And my response back to them all the time, over and over again, is take what it is that you would really like to attract into your life, whatever it is, whether it's wealth, a job, money, a nice watch, a new car, whatever it is, and want it more for somebody else than you want it for yourself. Just want it more. Just think about that and think about how much joy it would give you to be able to put your attention on that. And just keep your thoughts on that. Take your thoughts off of yourself and start living the 4 virtues. Start being sincere, start being supportive, start having this reverence for their life and so on. And just shift off of what's in it for me, and how much am I going to get, and why isn't it here fast enough, and why is theirs shinier than mine, and so on. Off of that, and begin to project that, and do that. I don't care whether you're a school teacher, I don't care if you're a dental hygienist, or if you're a carpenter, or whatever it is out there that you are doing. If you can take your attention, if you want the door to open to meaning, then the only way that door is going to open is if you understand that you have to leave your attachment to this grossly world of the material things and what's in it for me and how much am I getting, and shift your energy, your thoughts onto how may I offer, how may I serve.
And I just did a public television special, another public television special. And when I got an hour and a half before the show to start, I got one of these attacks again in the neck, and I was just like, how am I going to get through this thing and so on. And I said a prayer. My wife was there, 2 of my girls were there, we were in the room, I had my arms around them, and I said, if I'm supposed to endure this pain, for whatever reason that I don't even understand yet, I'm willing to do it. But could I please just have the next couple of hours so that I could at least get through this experience? And it just dissolved. And I was able, you were there, you were in the audience, and I was able to go out there and do it. And then the pain returned the next day, and I went right back to that state, and I still do it now. And I can feel it even now as we're talking about it a little bit here. And instead of cursing it, instead of being angry at it, I accept it as my dharma. This is, and whatever it is that I have to learn from it, generally speaking, every difficulty I've had in my life, getting divorced, literally being someone who is addicted to substances, including alcohol, letting go of, those kinds of beliefs that those are terrible things that I should be ashamed of. They've been amongst my greatest teachers. And this pain is just another one of those things. And generally speaking, I now can go out and help people who live in chronic pain. Yeah. And you do a lot of this with your tapping. I've seen you do it on stage, with people. When we were out in Australia, that one woman, what was it? She couldn't even...
Well, there's one lady with a frozen shoulder.
Right.
She couldn't move her arm.
Hadn't been able to move her arm in years.
In 20 minutes, she got it up like that.
Yeah. So it's like... And that comes from just accepting yourself and actually instead of cursing the pain, because when you curse the pain and get angry at it, you get angry. Every cell of your being goes through that same anger. And what you want to do is just get to that peaceful place within yourself where you say, when you trust in yourself, you're really trusting in the wisdom that created you. And the wisdom that created you is infinite and it's formless. And so your thoughts are in that same category. Have thoughts that are aligned with that divine presence. You'll see it going on.
The obscure outlasts the obvious. Try to become a little more obscure, a little less interfering, a little less notice me, a little less, one of the specific kinds of things that you can do is just as you're about, when somebody else is talking, just as you're about to interject what you've been thinking about for the whole time, waiting for them to stop talking, just stop and to bite your tongue and say, tell me more. Or, that's very interesting. I have never heard that point of view before. Even if they totally, completely disagree with everything that you stand for, to be willing to listen, to be able to stop, practice it. I practiced it when I did these verses of the Tao. I practiced it every single day while I was working on that. Just staying obscure. And for me, that's not always so easy because of just being recognized wherever I go. And if I saw someone who was about to recognize me, I would just put my head down. I would just walk a little bit past them like something. Right now, I just want to be anonymous. Right now, I want to be obscure.
All things are possible. And I always ask an audience, what does that leave out? All things are possible literally means all things are possible. So whatever it is you'd like to attract into your life, whatever you'd like to accomplish, whatever you'd like to do in your life, if you start from a spiritual place, a place of all things are possible, if I return, and get to that place, and then I begin to visualize it, and I begin to use my imagination, because everything that we see around us, everything in this world was once imagined. Everything. That camera that is there, the clothes that you're wearing, the chairs that we're sitting on, everything once had to be imagined. If you get that, Einstein's famous observation was that, imagination is more important than knowledge. If you can learn how important your imagination is, and that's where your spirit is, in that place. And then once you go to that place, in what it is you'd like to attract into your life, you're coming from a spiritual place, absolutely nothing is impossible. It was Thomas Troward. I don't know. He did some lectures on mental science way back in the 1907, 1908. He was from Scotland. And one of the things that he said is that the law of flotation was not discovered by the contemplation of the sinking of things. So that, like before the 15th and 16th centuries, all of the ships were made out of wood. Not because iron wasn't available and steel wasn't available, but because there was a belief that wood floated. So therefore you had to make ships out of things that floated. That's literally how and then someone came along and said that it has absolutely nothing to do with what things are made out of. It has to do with the amount of water that is being dispersed. That's what determines whether something will float or not. And I think about that all the time because it's in the contemplation of what you desire that you create what it is that you want to have.
What's up, all my hustlers and my magicians? This is Diction Uno, back with another edition of Hustle-Mind-Magik. So in the first clip, we see Tupac, and he's talking about heaven and hell being based in consciousness. and how that's really what's going to dictate that. And that goes to the mystical teachings of Neville Goddard, Joseph Murphy, Lawrence Scovel Shinn, and many others who interpret the scripture from a metaphysical standpoint. And you'll really find parallels in just about any of the religious teachings in the world when understood from the mystical symbolic lens. And it's that really we are going to create things with our thoughts, with our consciousness, and our state of consciousness is really what's going to be heaven or hell right here and now, not something after the fact. Then we have Wayne Dyer coming after that, and where those are connecting on the dots when we're talking in this episode about how can you get into quote-unquote heaven. And I know that with that title could be kind of loaded because both the gentlemen, rest in peace in this video, have passed away, and both of them in very different ways taught a lot of really deep lessons to the world and had a great impact on it. But Wayne Dyer in his video talks about a different way of getting into that state by focusing on service to others and by shifting your state away from that of lack to that of abundance. But he does it differently, not just the abundance for the appreciation of what you have, but for extending an empathy to visualize and to wish and feel the desire of having the joy of those things being given to other people. And that once you do that, everything will just come to you and connect that way. But both of them are really talking about the kingdom of heaven as a state of consciousness, as a place in the heart and the mind. And they both are touching on something important about karma, which really translates directly into action. I think it's misunderstood a lot of times, but then the traditional meaning could imply too. And basically it's just that, hey, if you feel and project something out there in the world through action, through thoughts, through feelings, it's going to come back to you, whether good or bad. And then that ties into whether you're going to go through a hell or whether you're going to go through a heaven. It's put in the teachings as in a lot of mystical teachings, and one particular from the Bible, but in chaos magic, which I practice, it's in there too, which is as above, so below, as within, so without. And it comes back to that. So when we're taking a look at what Tupac is talking about, and about the updating thing too, they're both talking about really us being faceless, formless awareness of God in different ways, and how really it's our state of consciousness again and our awareness of what is that is going to bring forth that which we want to experience in our reality, or that which we will experience in our reality. And Tupac talks about how he talked to every single god in prison, right? So the commonality of all these deities really being a state of consciousness, and how he felt that if one of them had written the Bible, it would be updated. That's true. I believe these texts have a lot to teach us, but they're definitely something that you're living and working with. And when we connect that into what Wayne Dyer's talking about too, Tupac's also talking about all the things that he went through, going through the struggle in his community and seeing how his community would struggle there, and going through the hell of being in jail, how you can create hell here. It reminds me of the Killer Priest lyric from Basic Instructions Before Leaving Earth, where he goes, he says, the Bible is already, he said in the Bible that earth is already, or heaven is already, earth is already a place. Basically, I'm paraphrasing, but he basically points to that in a lyric that, like, he points to the fact that, look, we can have heaven right here and right now. It's a state of consciousness. It's in your mind, it's in your heart. It's going to project outward into the physical. That's a lot of what I'll talk about on this channel when we get into more metaphysical understandings of things that cross over with psychology and branches of quantum physics, and then all the mystical teachings of the great and holy religions or systems of ceremonial magic, because there's a lot of overlap in all of them. But I think that you'll also find when we examine these things under the lens I am, as coming from a hip-hop perspective, how that shaped me as an artist over the years and a person. KRS-One's infamous for this, or who I brought up, Killer Priest. I was lucky enough to meet him and learn a lot from him directly, as well as KRS-One. But there's a lot of people, whether they would have labeled it that way, or whether they would have put it that way semantically, in the hip hop culture throughout the ages who have used that powerful form of rhyme, which is really casting spells, to display and expound upon a lot of metaphysical ideology and then live a lot of metaphysical ideology out as well. And so I think that's where you could take a look and learn a lot of lessons on that. So I hope that you sink the kingdom of heaven first in your mind and your heart, regardless of what you're going to believe. As you believe, so shall it be done unto you. So a great question, possible audience member. Well, Neville Goddard recommends a technique that I've used before. So I'm just going to speak to things that I've used personally to enter that kingdom of heaven when we're trying to do that deliberately, right? And just in the mental state and awareness and feeling. One is something I learned from Neville Goddard, which is just going in internally saying I am, and just trying to think of things as just I am, I exist, I aware I'm here, until you start to feel your heart kind of warm up. And you start to feel kind of floating a little bit outside your body, and then you can add whatever you want onto that. So what makes up your kingdom of heaven? Add that to that. The second thing I've done that helps me when I'm trying to seek the kingdom of heaven first is something called the heart-mind coherence. And there's the Heart Math Institute. I would recommend looking up stuff by them. They have techniques on how to sync the heart and mind. Dr. Joe Dispenza, we'll get into him in some episodes. He has some wonderful techniques on how to sync the heart and mind. And Brian Scott from Reality Revolution, my absolute favorite YouTube channel, if I'm being honest, and a big inspiration for this channel. He has a wonderful 11-minute heart-mind coherence meditation that I highly recommend. It's a quick way to take a pause, sync the heart and mind, get back into the kingdom of heaven so that, you know, you're occupying that space and bringing forth the type of things that you want in your heaven and what you want to be conscious of, what you want to bring into your reality. That it worked for me. And that continue to be go-tos. I hope whatever you believe that is good, it's going to serve you. It's going to serve the people around you. And I hope that you're able to gain something out of the Tupac and Wanye Dyer lessons here so that you can enter those pearly gates without having to leave this physical body. This is Diction Uno signing up for Hustle-Mind-Magik. One love, peace and blessings. Keep your hustle right. Keep your mind right. Do lots of magic. I'm out.
Handle the hand dealt, to swipe the deck, and